Of course, a hat was, if anything, even more important, and there was a hat for every occasion, from formal hats like the top hat, business hats like the bowler, jolly holiday hats like the boater, to working hats like the flat cap, which you need to start wearing the one I got for you for Christmas.
Well, technically I have two flat
Or
caps.
actually, I got it for your birthday last year. Yes, you have a summer one and a winter one.
Yeah, I just forgot to wear them besides. If I wear them, my head gets all hot.
Even in the winter?
Yeah. Well, it's more if I wear it with the flaps down, my head gets hot.
Well, that's...
If I wear it with the flaps up, my ears are cold. It's like I just wear a hood. That's usually fine.
I think it's because the heat is all in your torso when it and the hat.
The heat is all in my head.
Well, a hat does prevent the heat from escaping your body in the winter.
Yeah, but it doesn't all actually leave through the head as people think. That's more of a wide.
No, not all of it, but a good deal of it does.
Yeah, but it's probably no more than like 10-20%.
True, but you can still notice a hat, a woolen hat can make a big difference with how much heat is leaving your body during the winter.
Fair enough.
Anyway, these hats were very important. We really get a hint of these things in the opening of the special.
Oh, I see it now. So Jimmy Durante is wearing a Victorian double-breasted suit.
Mm-hmm.
The man carrying the Christmas presents is wearing a bowler hat and suit jacket. And the man coming home from work is wearing a bowler hat and top coat.
Exactly. And now we come to the very Victorian aspect of...
Professor Hinkle, the magician.
Magicians are Victorian?
Well, yes and no.
What does that mean?
Well, you see, modern stage magic, and the magicians who performed it, are a development of the Victorian era. That is why magicians are popularly imagined as being snappily dressed gentlemen with facial hair and top hats and tailcoats.
I only got the facial hair, nothing else.
The model for the look of a typical magician, a man with wavy hair, a top hat, a goatee, and a tailcoat, was Alexander Herman, who lived from February 10th, 1844, to December 17th, 1896, also known as Herman the Great. So famous in his day that he was dubbed the King of Magic, and performed for several actual monarchs as well. Among them, His Imperial Majesty Dom Pedro II, Constitutional Emperor and Perpetual Defender of Brazil. God restore the House of Braganza. Who was so impressed with him that he presented him with the Cross of Brazil, as well as His Imperial Majesty Tsar Alexander III, the Emperor and Autocrat of all the Russias. God save the Tsar. Rather irreverent, isn't he?
I'm sorry, I just can't get into that type of spirit. I'm sorry, that's just the way I am.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can't get into the spirit of very much. You're apathetic about a lot of things. Even if I'm just generally happy or cracking jokes, it takes a lot to get you into the jokes of any kind.
Mostly because I don't get the jokes.
Even when you
I don't hang out with people very often. I'm a very depressing.
You're introverted.
Introverted and extroverted. It depends. Sometimes I'm an introvert, sometimes I'm an extrovert, sometimes I'm an extrovert both. Sometimes I'm just depressed and I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, magicians are so full for it.
From whose court he received his name of Herman the Great. As a matter of fact, magicians are so popularly imagined as Victorian that when I've gone out dressed in my top hat and frock coat, I've been mistaken for a magician a few times.
Oh, that's funny.
A mistake which I take in good humor, of course.
Of course.
But getting back to the special, Professor Hinkle, being your typical magician, adds a tremendous amount of Victorian aesthetics to the special.
Professor Hinkle was just about the worst magician in the world. I mean, Jimmy Durante says that word for word in the special. What?
Oh, he's not worse than another professor I can think of, who goes by the name Emilius Browne. For example, look at Professor Hinkle try to do a simple trick involving some eggs in a hat.
And So, I put the magic eggs into my hat. Abracadabra, to coin the phrase. And voila! The eggs have turned into... Messy, messy, messy.
That was boring.
That's the point.
It wasn't funny.
That's the point. You'll see. Now look at Professor Emilius Browne try to do a similar trick.
So it really doesn't matter what I brew, as long as I brew it with a flair. Though I've never cast a magic spell, I make the motions very well. My showmanship is far beyond compare. I'm a rogue, a rake, a mountebank of fake, but I do whatever I dare.
What a waste of fresh eggs. They ain't fresh. Smell.
For it really doesn't matter what I do.
As long as I do it with a flair.
Exactly, you're getting the hang of it.
No, mostly just because I remember the lines, some of the lines
I see.
now. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I do recognize it.
Mm-hmm. Well, part of it is with songs, it's a lot easier to remember what comes next because you base it off the rhyme scheme and everything.
Very true. This wasn't much of a trick either. It was amusing though.
Exactly. Neither of them are very good at doing tricks.
Very good. They're both bad. Only one was amusing, and one was just plain flop.
Mm-hmm. But Professor Browne is a far better magician because he can do it with a flair. However, there is one thing that Professor Hinkle does far better than anyone else, and that is dress to impress.
True, he has a matching three-piece suit with tailcoat, bow tie, white dress gloves, dress shoes with spats, a wax mustache, and the top hat.
Not only that, but he understands and adheres to the higher standards of manners and customs that is expected of someone who dresses so well. He properly carries and uses a handkerchief, periodically adjusts his tie to make sure it is straight, and most importantly, tips his hat and bows when greeting people, and especially makes sure to tip his hat when he passes a lady in the street.
I can hear a subtle ha-ha coming from you against me.
Well,
that
yes.
last bit.
Yes, I gave you a hat, but I was the only one tipping his hat when we passed ladies in the street.
Well, courtesy is a decision, not a rule.
As are manners, but one should use them.
Says the person who has to be taught to open doors for ladies or anyone else.
I had to be taught to remember. I was forgetful. I learned to train myself to remember things better.
Yeah, thanks to my training,
Mhm.
or partial training, when I since I was there to properly train you into a good boy. Also, your hat is off. Slightly leaning more this way than that way, just so you know. Yeah, it looks okay now. Which brings us to the famous scene where Frosty comes to life. I'm eager to see how you put Victorian spin on this one.
Well, what brings Frosty to life?
Well, the magic of the hat, of course.
The hat. Exactly. And what, need I remind you, is the single most important thing for a Victorian man to have in his wardrobe?
A hat?
Very good. The fact is, the styles and values exemplified by the Victorian era were the norm for most of history before it, and remained the norm well into the modern era. Nearly all men still dressed up daily in formal suits, coats, and hats, including bowler hats and even top hats, as late as the 1960s, with this only starting to decline due to the unfortunate success of the revolutionary counterculture movement. Still, good culture is hard to kill, and these things remain throughout the decade, as this special made in 1969 so perfectly demonstrates. And as Frosty's Winter Wonderland demonstrates, they were still there in the 1970s as well. Even as men's style in general deteriorated ever further, the true gentleman only clung to these styles even harder, and managed to stop the trend of decline so that proper business dress still holds to suits, and morning dress complete with top hat is still the standard for weddings, memorial services, and formal daytime events. Even today, the exceptional among us still hold to these standards. Standards which have recently experienced a resurgence, as I see more and more men wearing proper hats when I go grocery shopping at Costco. As a modern Victorian, I'm doing my part as well, much like the people in this Christmas special, who you now see provide us with such a wonderfully Victorian event every year.
I always wanted to see the town. Let's make a
Of course, the crowning moment of this Victorian event comes in the form of the parade Frosty leads the children on. We see the classic way the Victorians would have a good time with a brass band in the square. We also see the people of the village, who again are very Victorian. We see another man in a bowler hat and coat with a styled mustache. A man with a very large styled mustache getting a trim, which unfortunately ends up ruined due to Frosty distracting the barber, who, I should add, has a waxed mustache of his own as well. To paraphrase Jimmy Durante, Karen hated to say goodbye to Frosty.
But as Santa promised, Frosty returned every year with the magical Christmas snow. And every year there was a great celebration with a
big Victorian Christmas parade. And all of the Victorian villagers would join in, even Professor Hinkle, who cleaned up his act, got onto the nice list, and got a new top hat from jolly old St. Nicholas. Yes,
And
with
with
Frosty the Snowman,
Christmas was always
very
very
Victorian indeed.
You have a Merry
Victorian
Christmas too.
I truly wish this for you, for after all, I'm the Blue Baron, defender of traditionalism. God bless you all. And remember, Fides Traditio Monarchia!
If you enjoyed this video, think about leaving a like, a comment, or subscribing so you can keep up with our videos and help us reach our first goal of 1,000 subs. Just hit the red button below the screen, or hit the eagle icon, which is on now. Then hit the notification bell to enable notifications, so you'll be informed whenever a new video is uploaded.
If there's something you didn't like, why not try to, instead of just hitting the dislike button, actually comment and tell us what you feel we could be doing better in the future. Nobody ever got better by anonymous dislikes or negative comments that don't explain themselves, but constructive criticism can be a helpful tool.
Indeed.
And as always, if you enjoy our videos, think about sharing them with friends to help us get new viewers, or supporting us on Patreon. Even just a few dollars per month goes a long way when it's multiplied by the number of people that do it. And you'd be helping us to, well, continue making these videos for a long time to come.
Indeed.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's have a parade!
Frosty the Snowman knew the sun was hot that day. So he said, let's run and we'll have some fun now before I melt away.
Where am I supposed to go? I don't wear these things!
Down to the village with a broomstick in his
I was thinking kidding.
running here and there all around the square, saying, "Catch me if you can."
Come on, kids. Follow the leader.
What were they supposed to do?
He led them down
Hey, why am I wearing this?
right to the
Hang around the shoulders. Your shoulders are smaller than
It's an
mine.
extra, it's an XL.
A moment
I make sure.
when he heard him holler, "Stop!"
I can wear 1X, but it's tighter on. It's a little tighter on the throat.
thumpity thump thump
Well, then let's just head off. Echo, you'll join in the parade.
Over the hills of snow. Frosty the Snowman was a jolly, happy soul. With a corncob pipe and a button nose, and 2 eyes made out of coal. And with Frosty the Snowman, Christmas was always very
You should learn to delight in feeling the
Merry
fool.
Christmas.
I live the fool. I live so much of a fool that disgusts me.
Say, what size is your father?
I have no clue.
Yeah.
Go asking yourself.
I'll be back.
Oh, I don't keep track of them. It's like I don't even know the parent's birthday, okay? I don't know.
Okay, alright, that's just sad.
I deal with that.